It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Friday, February 27th. I'm Mac Watson. At the first check hearing in the Capitol on Thursday, the 4 members who received checks on the House floor said they never felt it was an act of bribery. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Rebecca Bextel, who delivered the checks, said she just, quote, wafted toward the House floor.
So there were 4 people who received checks on the floor. Bextel testified, other testimonies confirmed. And the 2 people who were standing near Representative Knapp when he got his check, 2 of those people were on the investigative panel, and that's Majority Floor Leader Scott Heiner and Representative Ruben Tarver. And Tarver addressed this, said, yeah, I saw something get handed to him, but I had no idea what it was. Nina Weber was also called to testify and did, and said that there was an arrangement for her to escort Bextel onto the floor, since you need an escort if you're a guest. The committee descended into a private administrative segment. They said the next part of our work is administrative, so under the rules it doesn't have to be public, and everyone was dismissed.
There were no rules against giving campaign donations on the floor at the time, though the House, Senate, and governor have enacted rules banning the practice since this controversy, which Capitol regulars deemed CheckGate erupted. The now 17-year-old who held 14-year-old Bobby Maher down while a friend stabbed him was sentenced on Thursday to 30 to 75 years in prison. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that Bobby Maher's father told Cowboy State Daily that justice has been served.
He was charged with conspiracy to commit second-degree murder. And what came out in the police affidavit and today again in the sentencing hearing was that he was the one that grabbed the 14-year-old at the mall in Casper and threw him down on the ground and held him down while his accomplice, Jareth Plunkett, stuck a knife into Bobby Maher 2 times. And in court today, he apologized to both the Maher family and to the court.
Emotions exploded Thursday into tears and a cry to allow a hug from the supporters of the 17-year-old after being sentenced for his role in the April 7th, 2024 stabbing death of a 14-year-old at a local mall. Under a cloud of public questioning, Gillette Police Chief Chuck Deaton abruptly retired from the department on Thursday. Cowboy State Daily's Greg Johnson reports that Deaton said in a statement that it was time to move on.
I had left a message for the mayor. I called all the city council people, talked to the city administrator, and basically got the same response for the ones who got back to me or answered the phones. And it was personnel matter. 2 hours later, the announcement from the city comes out that he is retired. Apparently there's a personnel matter involved that we don't know about.
Cowboy State Daily reached out to city officials after being contacted by local residents inquiring about rumors regarding Deaton's status as chief. In speaking against an election audit reform bill Thursday, Senator Tara Nethercott said the state's county clerks don't support the measure. Cowboy State Daily's David Madison reports that the senator also stated that lawmakers should stop pandering to fears manufactured by national rhetoric.
Senator Tara Nethercott, she really came at this bill and called it out as basically inflammatory rhetoric in legislative form, that it was pandering to this phony concern about election fraud. It was onerous in that it would open up the election process to perhaps an intimidating crowd, that it had enhanced record-keeping requirements that I think the opponents found were unnecessary. And down that bill went.
The legislation ultimately failed 21-9. I'll be back with more news from Cowboy State Daily right after this.
Out here, everything takes longer. The miles in between teach patience. They teach you what's worth driving for. In Wyoming, miles are how we measure love. The distance you'll go to help a neighbor, to pick up your kid from an activity, or to visit someone you care about. That's why Hilltop Bank rides with you through every mile. We're not just close by, we're traveling the same roads. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. A corner crossing bill received pushback from both hunters and ranchers on Thursday, but the committee still forwarded it to the Senate. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that one hunter said, quote, let's just go out and corner cross, then write a bill to address any problems that come up.
They tried to put it in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court refused to hear the case, which many people took to mean that, at least in a de facto sense, corner crossing was legal. So all this bill is attempting to do is clarify it, codify it in Wyoming statute, just to make it crystal clear, black and white. There were actually people from both sides that kind of had misgivings about it. And again, it wasn't that, oh, this idea just stinks, we don't want this. But it's not about the concept, it's about the details of how to apply the concept in real life.
House Bill 19 aims to codify into Wyoming statute what was essentially decided by a federal court decision, that corner crossing is legal. Corner crossing is stepping from one parcel of public land to another at a shared corner without touching the private land that also meets at that point. A former U.S. Army Ranger on Thursday formally entered Wyoming's U.S. House race for the seat U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman is vacating to run for Senate. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that David Geralt says he will run a grassroots and bootstraps campaign.
He means by grassroots and bootstrap that he does not have a ton of money. He doesn't have the money like some of the other candidates have in this race. So he plans to go door to door, and he says that's the way he would do it anyway. So he's just going to put his next foot forward and keep marching.
David Geralt of Casper, who, among other roles, has served as a policy advisor for U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, is a first-generation American who has enjoyed opportunities growing up in Casper that never would have been possible for his parents in their native lands. His father was born in Costa Rica and his mother is from Cuba. A Kentucky mother is suing Bandit Industries, claiming a bandit intimidator Woodchipper without key safety features caused her son's fatal 2024 workplace accident near Alpine, Wyoming. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Brenda Cernkovich's complaint says her son frantically tried to stop the machine but couldn't.
She's gotten herself appointed wrongful death representative, and she's suing for negligence and product liability, which is saying you made a dangerous product, and for wrongful death. So the lawsuit complaint says that William's leg got caught in the machine and its internal mechanisms with 4,000 pounds of force pulled him in and he could not deactivate it.
Brenda Cernkovich filed her wrongful death suit in the U.S. District Court for Wyoming against Michigan-based Bandit Industries Incorporated. Her son William died June 18, 2024, at the age of 43. He was born in Montpelier, Idaho, graduated from Wyoming's Star Valley High School in 1998, and was deployed in Iraq as part of his decade of service in the Army National Guard. So says his obituary. Powell resident Alan Hatch was banned from McDonald's earlier this week for driving his draft horses and wagon through the drive-thru. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that although employees were excited to see them, the manager reportedly was not.
The Powell manager brought up I think is a fairly legitimate point that if the horses left some horse apples in the drive-thru, they don't have anybody to clean that up. And that's fair. I would say that's beyond the purview of a typical McDonald's employee. But fortunately, the horses didn't leave any road apples, and they had a particularly eventful time going through the drive-thru. And that was actually important training for them because they're being slowly conditioned to life in Powell and moving along the streets.
Hatch tells Cowboy State Daily that even though McDonald's 86'd him, he still got his order and went on his way. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting that daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel or listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for watching. I'm Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.